They asked if we could sit Mr. Kincannon and Mr. Jamie on the end so the audience isn't looking at his back.
Who asked that?
The audience.
Okay.
Is that okay? Are you
Yeah.
okay?
Yeah.
Sitting on the end? You okay?
Yeah.
All right.
We're going to open the meeting of, this is February 23rd. Selectmen's meeting. Open session public meetings are subject to being videotaped. Your image and voice may be recorded. Okay. So this morning we're going to interview the two interim candidates for fire EMS chief. And our first candidate is James Kincannon. Welcome.
Thank you. Good morning.
Just relax and we'll put you at ease. Do we want to start off with the very first question or ask Jim to tell us a little about himself?
Yeah. A little bit about yourself.
About fire, mostly I came on 10 years ago, approaching 10 years. Started here, trained through the Mass Fire Academy. Came under the tutorage of this fellow that just walked in. George Pendergast was one of my mentors here. Carried some of the old school fire techniques with the changes in the changes in building, and learned that at the Fire Academy. So this has been my primary department, my only department. This is where I live. This is where my friends mostly live. Anything else? Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. We could start off. Do you want to just take turns going
Sure.
down the list? Do you want to start, Lisa?
The department has faced some tough critics and opinions lately. How do you improve it?
The town has adopted or has carried some of the history of our labeling that has had in the past, good and bad. We've worked to get past that, to build a more professional image. We're working on that, and we need to work harder. Part of that is our workforce is voluntary, so a lot of people that we have on the department are coming here from other jobs, and they're not out with the public here, building relationships and getting to know them. So I would like to bring the workforce out a little more when the opportunity opens.
You know, how would you do that? Do you know?
Well, we have two firefighters, EMTs, that are on duty in the daytime. There's no reason why they can't be out with meeting the school people, meeting the townspeople, meeting the elderly population when the opportunities arise. There's no reason they can't go to coffee hour, meet, talk, and interact with the public.
Good. This is an odd one, huh? When someone abuses their power, how will it be controlled?
Someone abuses their power, it first needs to be reported, observed, and the person who's abusing their power needs to be disciplined immediately.
Okay.
So the question that I had, Jim, you kind of answered on number one, where it was describe how you will manage a small fire department made up mostly of volunteers. So you talked about getting the volunteers out, or the EMT folks and getting the fire department more out in the public for them to learn. But how do you manage a small fire department?
It's very difficult because you're not giving them a full-time job, so they're being lured away by other departments, private EMS. So you try to build them in the department, you try to find ways of motivating them. You know, a lot of them have special skills. Fellow officers are training officers working to empower our employees to do a lot of the teaching that they have special skills with. It's a matter of tapping into their abilities, and part of that's mentoring, part of that's coaching, and part of that's training, and part of it's just building a trust with the employees so that they feel like they're actually on a department and not just a contract employee.
How do you envision your role as interim chief?
Interim chief, my understanding is the chief that tries to maintain stability within the department and tries to even out the insecurities that go with that, and not bring a tremendous amount of change in direction at that time.
Tell us about your experience with budgets and what do you do when you find the budget running short?
Well, first of all, you don't hide it, hide the shortfall. I think you get up to FinCom or to the upper steps, come upstairs and let them know you're having a problem,
Mm-hmm.
so that we could all work to figure out a way to cover the underage show.
Okay.
So what do you bring to this role that the other applicant does not?
So, well, my other applicant is my fellow.
I know.
Officer,
It's a tough answer.
Yeah, so I can just tell you what I bring and let him tell you what he brings, but I'm very approachable. I am who I am, and I'm not putting on an act to be a firefighter. I try to be Jim Concannon, and this is my job, so I try to use the same application of caring that I do personally.
How are you going to work with the Board of Selectmen, even though you will be a strong interim chief?
Absolutely, yeah. I need to interact with the Board of Selectmen. Yeah.
Any particular ways that you can think of that you can keep us informed or?
Whatever. I mean, if we have problems, if there's something breaks, first of all, just to get a grasp of how much finance we have left for the rest of the fiscal year.
Mm-hmm.
And then I'll tell you what I see as
And you're aware
issues.
that we just started monthly reports.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Which I think will be very helpful.
I think that's progressive. I think it's a good thing.
All right, where are we? Number 8?
8.
How do you avoid communication breakdown in the department?
By being proactive, by being there, by being connected with people, making initially when you see someone, letting them know that you're open, that you're there, you're not closed, you're not off in your own place, that you do acknowledge that they're there, so they know that you're physically and basically emotionally there, and then I think a leader's job is to keep a barometric check on what's going on around them all the time. So
You're just throwing me a bone there, Mr. Kincannon, because, your previous answer led into my question, and now your previous answer leads into this question.
are we all done?
You know we're not all done. Almost. Almost. Save the hard ones for last. Are you a leader or a manager? And please explain.
Well, to me, a manager is someone that actually functions, gets the job done. That's a manager. Very good person to have in an organization. A leader is someone that will take the bad days and dig into them. A leader is someone that doesn't shut the door when there's a problem. It's a challenge, and you have to be up for the challenge. There's lots of leadership required in government, and in fire service, you have to have leadership qualities, or you put your people at risk. So it's essential. It's essential.
Thanks.
The next last three if you want to do that.
All right. What do you hope to accomplish in your role as interim chief?
I would like to, going back to the old Boy Scout in me, is I'd like to leave it better than I started. And not to be broad, but I would like the workforce to be, I would like a steadier workforce down there. I like us to have people a little more recommitted to the department. I like a little more ownership of the department with the employees. I like them to feel like they work for Berlin Fire and not 3 departments. I would like to see some town firefighters, EMTs on the department. I like the morale to go up on our department, and I would like the public opinion of the department to be not suspicious, but to be their department. To be proud of the department and the people that work here, and not not divisive.
Good answer. Lisa has a couple of additional ones.
I didn't see any on here that actually addressed emergency management, so I came up with just a few questions in
Okay.
that area. Tell me about a scene that sticks with you. What did you learn from it? What would you do differently given the opportunity?
Well, sometimes we have dispatch not errors, but we may be dispatched after another town's been dispatched. So we have some geographic issues with dispatch, especially up on the highway. So we may show up on scene, and another town may have command of our incident in our geographic area. So that's been a historic issue here. And since we all need to work together in the mutual aid system, we rely on each other for resources. That's something that I would like to. You can't completely rectify it, but work on improving it.
Okay. Is there a specific incident or a specific scene that you showed up at that sticks in your mind that you can tell me about that may have been a learning experience?
We showed up for a tractor trailer. Sure, sorry. We showed up for a tractor trailer accident a year or so ago. Bolton was dispatched to. It was below Taylor Road, and Bolton was working the scene. We got called in after. It could have been bad if it was like the accident that happened down in southern Massachusetts yesterday. Bolton, we have a good partnership with Bolton. They work with us. It's more of a dispatch issue.
There's a catastrophic emergency in town, a hazmat spill on the train tracks. Walk me through your process.
So we need to, public safety is number one. So first of all, how we're trained is first do sizes up the incident, tries to get across what it is. Police would be dispatched, but we would try to clear all the public from the area. So first one do, we try to get an idea of what it is from a distance. We have binoculars on the engines to see if it's real bad, and we have a distance we approach from, and then we would clear the public at least that distance and work with police and let them know what we believe it is. We have a book that we go to that identifies codes off the cars. It would tell us hopefully what we think it is. We would hope to get a bill of lading from the train company. We call into a office, figure out what it is, and then we dispatch the state. Right away, we'd ask dispatch to get the state out to help us, and we contact our neighboring communities and let them know what we have, and we call for help from them also. So we build it up. We build it up fast. The incident, closing off roads, calling in resources from the state, calling in hazmat companies. We built up the incident that way.
What do you see as the biggest public safety challenges in town?
To me, the highway gives us the most trouble. The highway sort of, you don't know what you're gonna get. And what's transported over the highway, we have no control over. So to me, that's probably the largest worry. I mean, to me.
Is there anything else you want to share with us?
No, I appreciate the opportunity to be here. I just reiterate back to where I started is that I'm the local guy now, and I look forward to working with everyone here if the opportunity opens.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Do we open it up to the audience or no?
I don't think so.
No. Okay.
No. Appreciate it.
Okay.
Thank you.
Thank you. Thanks, Jim.
Chris,
Thanks.
Lisa.
Do you want me to get Jamie or wait?
Do we need to wait till 10:30?
I think because it's posted, you probably want to wait till 10:30 to do the other things we have to do.
That's usually how it goes.
Yes. 2 years.
I think we'll wait a few minutes.
Okay.
I don't know if we want to take a break or,
Do you want to pause?
Yeah.
yeah.
I learned how to say your last name.
It's French.
I know, I wrote it
That's what I was
phonetically.
thinking. It's, I think,
Top.
think French.
Think French.
So, good morning.
morning.
And welcome.
Thank you.
And I don't know if you want to start off, just tell us a little bit about yourself and
Sure.
your fire background and...
Sure.
My name is Jamie Desautel, as you know, and currently I'm a captain here in Berlin, and as well as being a captain of the groups, or of a group, I oversee the fire reporting that goes to the state and then to the national, the federal government. I'm also I work with the HIPAA compliance for all of the EMS reporting, and let's see. some work with our EMS system, and so hopefully we can change that and make it a better system. I have a 4-page list of things that I think we really need to accomplish. I didn't bring that with me, but the top few are really, get us reorganized and make sure that we're correcting the communication issues. And I hope to have just a great relationship with everybody in the board, and I want it to be a totally different experience for everybody than it has been in the past. And that's no slight to anybody. It's just how I look at it going forward.
Thank you. Lisa has a couple additional
I had a
questions.
couple. I
Sure.
noticed that there weren't any actual emergency management questions on here, so I wrote a few of those this morning. So,
Okay.
tell me about a scene that sticks with you. What did you learn from it? What would you do differently given the opportunity?
One of the big ones was the ice storm. The ice storm caught all of us totally off guard, and not only did it cripple our resources, it crippled our communications, it crippled our manpower. It was really tough, and you have to kind of have to prepare and run your department for the day-to-day things that happen, but you always got to think about those big things. And I think an ice storm is a good example, because that's the potential for that to happen again is pretty real. And a lot of lessons came out of that. When power goes out, when poles get knocked down, we lose our communications. How do we deal with that? How do we get fuel in vehicles? How do we get food to feed people who are out working? How do we reach people when there's trees down? A few good things came out of the ice storm. Working better with the power companies, getting a better relation with the highway department, trying to clear roads. So I think every time you have a major incident like that, standing back after, noting the problems that we faced and how can we do a better job next time, and what are the things that that we can be better prepared for. Does that kind of answer them?
Mm-hmm. Thank you. There's a catastrophic emergency in town, a hazmat spill on the train tracks. Walk me through your process.
It's the hazmat.
You're not going to know when you go in, right?
So if the first is trying to obviously identify what it is. Most trains are going to have, I think, CSX that runs through Berlin. You can call their dispatch, and with a train number, you can usually get a good idea of what's in the train car. So, first of all, what is it? What are we dealing with? There's obviously, if it's a bad chemical, we have some immediate life safety concerns. We need to make sure that if we have to evacuate an area, if we have fire problems, et cetera, the first 5 minutes are going to be totally chaotic, trying to figure out what's going on, clear the area. We need to know environmental impacts. We need to know health concerns. Is it something that's going to go into the water system? Is it going to contaminate our rivers? Is there a train car going to blow up? I mean, it's a really broad-based statement, but it's definitely trying to identify what that hazard source is, and the best way to mitigate that hazard and make sure that the public is safe. Really quickly reaching out to the Department of Environmental Protection. Most of the train companies have environmental companies and people that deal with just that. Reaching out to them, making sure that there's a response. National Transportation Safety Board, getting them involved right off the bat. Lot of phone calls depending on the magnitude of the incident. Let's hope it doesn't happen.
Yes. I almost chose a plane into the town offices, but that seemed overly dramatic. What do you see as the biggest public safety challenges in town?
I think one of the biggest ones is the fact that just trying to think of how to say this. We have a great department, and one of our biggest challenges is dealing with the increase in our calls, the increased required training, the increased time that people are forced to spend, and a department, not only this department, but nationally, call and volunteer fire departments are declining. And I think our biggest challenge is making sure that we answer the call. And by saying what I'm saying, please don't make that mistake. I'm not suggesting that we need to hire people. That's not at all. We have a great group of people, and that's where it kind of goes back to embracing what we have and trying to retain and recruit new people. But that's probably one of our biggest challenges, is just making sure we have enough people to get out there. I think we did a great job putting a per diem person in a full-time position during the daytime. That definitely helped. And I know the board supported the per diem person at nighttime. One of the biggest challenges we have is making sure that the ambulance gets out the door at 2 o'clock in the morning. And you've definitely embraced that by supporting that in FY 20's budget. And I think that's probably one of our bigger challenges. It's very doable. We can take care of it. We don't need to hire people. We don't need to, please don't mistake that, but making sure that we have people that can get out and answer the call. It's probably one of our biggest challenges. That and where we don't have a municipal water system, I'm hoping that the support for the new pumper tanker, because we really need to make sure we have the water to be able to deliver to any fires. So I know that's two, sorry.
It's okay. I said challenges, so it left you
Yeah,
open.
challenges, yes.
Yeah.
There's lots of challenges, but those are kind of, I'm very people-oriented, and we really need to put effort into our people and make sure they're okay and that they can get out the door, take care of the citizens, because that's what it's all about.
Thank you.
All set?
I had one follow-up, if you don't mind.
Go ahead.
In your cover letter and in your resume and in the discussion, you had mentioned that you were a career fire captain with the town of Northborough. So if you were to get this role, how would that work? Because you really can't be in two places at once.
Well, it's interesting. I brought another thing for everyone.
I swear to God, I did not set any of these candidates up for the questions. Let's just put that right out there.
So this is a copy of my schedule. So figured you want to know what
A little complicated, huh?
So there's a lot of pretty colors.
There are.
If you look at the green squares, that would be my shift. So basically, I work 8 days a month on average. We work 24-hour shifts, so my shift rotation goes 24 hours on, 48 hours off, 24 hours on, 4 days off. So basically, there's always 4 days in a row that I can be here. And then in between my two shifts, there's 2 days in a row. One of the things I was hoping to sell you on was that if I had to work Monday but had Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday off, I could always work that Saturday, which I think would be great to let the public know that the chief is here on a Saturday for people that can't always make it to the fire station during the week. So I just wanted to put a positive spin on it, but I can easily work 40 to 50 hours a week without any problems at all.
Okay, thank you.
So if you kind of march it out and you just look at the green squares,
Yeah.
there's a lot of days available.
All right, that was my only follow-up. Thanks.
Okay. Is there anything else you'd like us to know or share with us?
Well, I was going to ask, is there any certifications? Is there any personality traits or management styles or anything that you're looking for that maybe I haven't talked about? I just want to make sure you know who I really am. And
I have a pretty good idea. I don't know that I have any questions. Others?
Same, I think the questions were geared not to only see what the standard response would be, but the follow-on response.
well, I would love the opportunity, and I would love the opportunity to work with the board. And I've been working my whole career to get to this very spot right here. So I'd be honored if I had the opportunity.
I do have just one quick question.
Sure.
There are going to be times when you are going to have a different opinion than the board. You talked very much about working closely with the board, and I
Yep.
understand that and wanting everybody to be friends, but there are going to be times when you disagree with the board. And it may be a time where you need to stand up for your guys because you believe really strongly that we're maybe on the wrong page. How do you approach that situation?
So hopefully I've done my homework and I've done a good job educating you as to whatever the issue was. making sure you understand, any negative ramifications or whatever of going in a certain direction. I think people will tend to disagree from time to time, but working together and establishing a good rapport and a good working relationship. Hopefully we would have the relationship that if I said to you, you know what, we got to do this, it's so important. Hopefully you would have enough trust in me to understand that and know that that decision wasn't made lightly, and know that that decision was researched, and we reached out to many people to try to get a bunch of differing opinions on that. Hopefully that won't happen. I can't, again, watching all the Board of Selectmen's meeting, I think it's a really good group, and I think as long as we roll up our sleeves and put our heads together, I can't see that happening, short of me, asking for a $10 million budget. I can't see that happening, but human nature would dictate that from time to time we would have differing opinions or disagree. But again, hopefully the relationship would be established that we could work through that, and
Okay.
never cross the board.
All right, thank you very much.
Thank you so much. I
Awesome.
appreciate it.
Thanks, Jamie.
Thank you very much. Thank you. Thank you so much.
All right. Well, I think it's going to be a very hard decision, but I want to make sure that the message is passed on to the candidate that maybe isn't chosen, that both candidates should apply
Mhm.
for the permanent position. So I don't know if we want to just start off by comments and questions and talking about the differences in the candidates.
I think you have two wildly different candidates there. I think, yeah.
I think
it
either
depends
one
on
would
what-
be excellent, though.
Yes.
Yeah.
I think it depends on what you're looking for, because these are two very different individuals.
A couple of them said the same things, though, which I appreciate. Communication is so important. That's like the big thing for me too, is making sure that there's enough communication so that there isn't any misunderstandings.
Yeah, I mean, what I liked was that both are truly willing to work with the board, so that veil of secrecy no longer exists, and that there is open communication and there is transparency, so that we can be on the same page. So that was great that the both of them recognized that even though they're a strong chief and they really don't need to interact with us, that they should. And it seems like either of them would.
Okay. I don't know if you want to talk about the different things like that you saw as good things, bad things for each of the candidates.
I think Jim is very practical. I think Jamie's very enthusiastic.
Yep. I like the fact that Jim made the comment that they need to get out in public, which I think they both did. And mentoring was an important facet, and bringing people together in the department.
Well, and one item too, the both of them realize that there's issues. They're not sugarcoating any of this, that they're just not walking in thinking all is all glorious with, unicorn rainbow sprinkles. It's not. And both of them appear to want to roll up their sleeves and dive in and fix whatever perception issues are out there, or whatever legit issues are out there that they're going to both work to correct and get rid of.
Anything else that you want to share, Lisa?
I'm not sure whether it's a good thing or a bad thing, I think Jim is doing this because he feels it's very much because he cares deeply. I think this is something Jamie really wants. So that's sort of a differentiator, and I'm not saying it's a good or bad in either way, but Jamie wants to be chief. Jim is doing this because he seriously wants to help.
Yeah, I mean, you could, again, both of them are qualified, and you can, it's really a split a hair. But what came across to me, what made a difference is that you could feel Jim's heart. And you can teach anybody to do a job. Oh, you don't have that skill, let me teach you. But if you don't have it here, I don't care what you teach. You're not going to be successful.
I'll just sort of go down. I thought Jim was succinct in his answers. They were short, but they were succinct, and very thoughtful. I like both their answers on the, what they were very careful about how to answer number 6, which was, what do you bring to this role the other applicant does not? I think if both candidates are, I think communication is the important thing, then I think that we probably can't lose with either candidate. And keeping the board in the loop, strong chief, weak chief, keeping the board in the loop, I think that's all we really want. I do have a little bit of concern about the schedule. It's kind of hard to figure out the
Green.
color scheme.
Go green.
Yeah. I'd like the chief to be available anytime needed. And is that possible with Jamie? I don't know.
But they will also, I guess, on the flip side of that, I think that's sort of the norm. That's why you have a strong deputy chief. You can't expect one person to be available all of the time. I'm not sure that's a fair. Either one could go on vacation or have an emergency at home or any number of different things. I'm not sure that it's right to penalize based on that.
I don't think it's a penalty. I think it's just a concern. As, you know, as with some of their, you know, with answers and abilities, it's just all part of the package.
All right. Boy, tough decision.
Well, if you want, I'll start it off. I can make a motion.
Okay.
So I make a motion to hire Jim Kincannon as interim chief.
Okay, I'll second that. You have a discussion?
I think
More
we've
discussion?
No, I think we've pretty much cleaned it.
I think I would encourage, if we go ahead and approve Jim, I would encourage that maybe Jamie be considered for interim deputy. I know that they wouldn't want to appoint somebody permanently because the new chief who comes in really needs to have that ability, but I think that would be something that would be valuable.
So giving that advice to Jim,
Yeah.
perhaps?
Mhm.
Okay. All right, motion's been made and seconded. All in favor? Aye.
Congratulations to Mr. Kincannon and to Mr. Desital.
Yay.
I know.
Say it. Yay.
You got that.
Are either of the candidates still outside? Does
I
anyone
won, they
know?
both, I think I saw Jamie walk down the stairs when I was getting my water.
I'll
Okay.
peek.
I don't think,
I'll peek. You want both of them, or Jim?
Do you think they
Yeah,
left?
both of them, if they could. If they're there.
I'm not going down.
I agree with the decision of the board. Bravo on all points. Good job.
I agree with
Boy,
you
it was
with
tough.
I agree with your scheduling point, and the reason I don't agree with you is because everybody's got their interruptions.
Still on.
And, but this is a rigid one, the other candidate doesn't.
What occurred to me was that the deputy's schedule is gonna have to be the opposite of the captain's in order for it to work. So that schedule drives whoever is in the deputy position to be on when the other gentleman is off.
Yes, but this is a pretty darn, he's only on
8 days.
8 days a month out of 30.
Yeah, but some days you get held over and you get stuck during emergencies. It happens. Murphy's Law. Always happens.
8
I'd
days.
like to work 8 days.
I'm up.
That 24-hour shift is.
Well, at first I'm thinking 8 days a week. How's that
No.
possible?
Because then it's pretty hard on, I think it's hard on a person that does 8 days plus this. And that'd be rough.
That is more of a concern for me, that he would come out of this and not have a,
Be wiped out.
well, not have a fiance anymore. Because if I were in that position, I'd be thinking,
Yeah.
I never see you, you never work,
Yeah, right.
you're never here. But
Cool beans.
Who's the deputy chief here?
There isn't one right now.
I did yell at the top of the stairs.
There isn't one right now. You're an assistant chief right now.
Who's the assistant chief?
Patty Career.
Well, hey, you found them both.
I did, well, Mrs. Kincannon found it.
So we have taken a vote, motion seconded. We've chosen Jim Concanon as the interim chief. However, we'd really like to see you both work together. And I don't know if you want to share your comment too.
my thought was just, you might want to think about appointing Jamie as the interim deputy, just because I think that your strengths on both sides balance one another really well. And this was a really difficult decision.
Agreed.
So it wasn't, you both are really great candidates, and we
And
appreciate you
please,
stepping up.
I'm encouraging you both to
Go a full-time gig.
Yeah, put in your applications for the full-time.
We're in great
So-
hands with the both of you. The town is in excellent hands. So again, thank you for stepping up. It's a giant role to get into. But you both acknowledged issues. You're not shying away from them, and you're ready to go full force. So hats off to the both of you for that.
Thank you.
Hey.
Thank you, Chris, very much.
Congratulations.
Thank you, Lisa.
You're welcome. Congratulations. All right. We have a few other things on our agenda this morning.
Oh, sorry.
So under approvals, we have the MRI, Fire EMS Chief Executive Recruitment Documents, the community profile, and the advertisement that MRI is putting together. And I didn't know whether the board had any questions, comments on these, or,
I think it was just the wording for strong chief, where it's going to go to the town. So I don't know how you want to.
I have,
You changed it. Right? You already changed it.
Oh,
do you
did
have
they?
it up?
Huh?
Oh, I didn't think we voted on it.
We didn't actually take a vote last time. That's
Okay.
why this is on the
Oh,
agenda
all right.
again. As I looked over them last night, there was a question. One paragraph said, in the ideal candidate, fire is that the chief is the only full-time position. And in the second paragraph, it said there's 4 full-time positions. And so I was going to try to get some clarification on that, or
You should have grabbed him when you were here.
correct it.
Because you had your experts in the room.
I think one of it would most likely be there's 4 full-time people. Am I correct, Dave?
Yes.
Okay, then I think that one sentence saying that the chief is the only full-time position needs to be deleted.
If I pull this up, would you take a quick look at it and make sure that it's factually correct? Would you mind?
Sure.
They're gonna go get Jim.
They're gonna go get Jim, okay.
Oh, okay.
Welcome aboard.
Yeah.
You're on the clock.
You're on the clock.
I gotta run. Excuse me, everybody. This was fun.
Lovely to see you.
Lovely to be here.
And you don't have a copy of it, right? You need me to pull it up?
This one?
Or you have it?
This was the one from Tuesday when we met.
Might want to go with the one,
Yeah.
That you wrote, or you fixed, or?
oh boy. Did Mary
Is this
send?
it? Right here? Would this be the thread?
Yes,
Okay.
I think that's it.
So
The
let's
ideal
get this
candidate.
one.
That's fine. If anything, we hold it over till Monday and we can confirm.
Oh, well, we're waiting.
Just let him
I'll
take a look at it and see if there's any other concerns.
Okay.
But they were just really that, I was gonna say, we probably need to take that one, that sentence out. And the other thing I noted was that it mentioned Solomon Pond Mall, but we could add Highland Commons. I think that was in paragraph 5. Has he got the ad up or the,
I have the first one that says Fire EMS Chief Berlin, Mass, and then I'll bring the other one up too. Because there's the 2 documents, right?
yeah, one is the ideal profile, one is the ad.
I think this is the ideal profile that I have up.
Okay. So I think it was paragraph 3 where it says the chief is the only full-time position. If you have the right document up.
This one says 4 full-time, total of 4 full-time personnel.
Okay, maybe it was corrected in that version then. And then in the ad,
The only thing that would have to be clarified is the number of personnel and the number of EMS.
well, then there was a typo.
Okay.
I found a typo.
That is your mission in life, to find all our typos.
Right.
They just come right out, you know?
They're just the beacon for you?
Yeah.
Okay.
So,
He just said we also want to verify 41 and 22 to just make sure we have the,
yes, I
Right,
think
numbers
that
for those.
has been verified. I
Correct.
think Paul did. Okay, and then the ad, I think, did have the 4 full-time also, so, and it didn't mention the, the fire
Okay,
chief as
so
the
it's been-
only.
been fixed. 'Cause
Yeah.
I remember that too, and going, huh? You can't have both.
And then a typo. So if, with those corrections, do I hear a motion to approve?
Motion to approve.
Seconded.
Okay, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye. All right. We also need to vote to confirm that the town will remain with Maya for health insurance for FY20. This has been asked, Dennis asked that this vote take place so that he can get some numbers from Maya as far as for the budget. So I'm asking,
Motion to approve.
Seconded.
okay, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Yeah, we really didn't have a choice at this point.
No,
It'll take
I think
longer
that
than we
it-
have
yeah,
to-
right. Update from town council on the fire EMS department MOA status. We did receive an analysis from VDH, John Foskett, and I think I'll just read it basically. I believe that the MOA entered into on February 17th is unenforceable. The chief had resigned effective March 1st, 2019, and then entered into this MOA only 2 weeks before he was due to leave. The MOA purports to give the fire marshal a $12,000 raise retroactive to July 1, 2018, gives him just cause protection and extends the MOA through FY20 unless another contract is agreed to before July 1, 2019. There's a basic principle in Massachusetts law that a public officer cannot give an appointee a tenure of office beyond his own, at least where the circumstances indicate a lack of good faith or an unconscionable attempt to bind a successor. As I told you, I handled one of the cases applying that rule, White versus Board of Selectmen. The proposition still holds. Copley versus Town of Dartmouth. While none of the cases fit this specific situation, I believe that they clearly apply. In addition to the financial and other protections for the fire marshal, which purport to bind the next chief through FY20, the MOA also inaccurately suggests that town meeting made an appropriation for this. It did not. Town meeting was shown a department budget which has the fire marshal at $67,000 for FY19. The chief is instead transferring money from another line item for which town meeting appropriated but cannot show any budgetary exigency requiring that. As a separate matter, I believe that the purported salary increase requires the Board of Selectmen approval. The Strong Chief statute authorizes the chief to fix the compensation of the permanent members of the fire department, subject to approval of the selectmen. In addition, the statute expressly states that members of the department may be removed for cause. This is different from just cause. As we have discussed, I have suggested that at its vote on Saturday, the board can appoint the interim chief effective immediately, given concern that the chief may try additional stunts like this one. The chief will get paid through March 1st, no matter what, but you folks can decide whether it's a one-week co-chief situation, he continues for that week as chief solely to transition, or he takes vacation the last week. The board should schedule and post an agenda item to vote on the compensation in the MOA, to reject it, and to vote that the MOA is unlawful and unenforceable for the reasons stated. So I would make a motion to reject the compensation in the MOA and that the MOA is unlawful and unenforceable for the reasons stated.
Second.
Is there anything else to be said?
No, I think they were very thorough in their information back to us, and appreciate the timeliness, because this just went to them, what, Tuesday, Wednesday?
Wednesday.
And they turned it around in 24 hours, so very much appreciate their help with this.
Anything else?
I always said that the budget piece was not enforceable. There
Right.
was no,
So we have a motion.
A
And
second?
a second. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed?
Opposed? No?
Okay.
Okay, it's unanimous. I also spoke with Joe about the issue of the hotel. And he wanted to make sure that we could cooperate with the people from the hotel and have the fire chief, or the fire marshal, have an OT request approved either by the board, or we can ask our fire chief or interim chief, just to make sure that we get the hotel taken care of in a timely manner. And he wasn't sure how that could be handled, and I wanted to bring that to the board. Comments, questions?
Well, welcome aboard, Mr. Concanon. I think that it's only fair that we just, as much as he and or Jamie said we need to work this way, we need to work that way. So logically, makes sense. But again, communication going backwards, I just like to get him in the know. as well, and just have input, because obviously it's now a impact to the budget, so.
Right. It's an authorization of the overtime. I just wanted to make sure that whoever's supposed to do that is doing it properly. Comments? Lisa?
Well, I know we need to get
Mm.
the hotel taken care of.
Yep.
And they have a time constraint on it too, because they said, what, March
And
15th to
I-
open, but
19th.
19th.
Yeah,
But
I
means-
also know this is an enormous amount of work. These inspections
Yeah.
are an enormous amount of work.
Right. And I do want to see that it gets done.
Mhm.
I don't know that it's the board that would authorize that.
No, I think it's the
So
chief or the
we probably need to
interim chief.
talk with, you
Jim or
know.
Paul?
Right.
Jim Paul.
Would you like me to do that?
Yeah.
Okay.
Is it something that Jamie could help with, since he apparently is qualified to inspect? Could he step in as a helper as well?
Good.
That'll need to be the decision of the
Yeah.
Jim Paul.
Yeah.
Pim.
My gut feeling right now is at this late juncture, probably not, probably with the next project, but this project has been under the purview of one person from start to finish. And it would be very hard to throw somebody else in at this point.
But
That's
would-
just my
Would you guys ask
gut
Jim
feeling.
and see if it makes sense to him?
Yeah, I'm gonna,
Oh,
I'll,
but they'll, I mean, I'm sure that they have thoughts on this. This is
Mm.
not a new thing.
It's not a
I'm sure
surprise.
that they have
Yeah.
thoughts on this, so.
regardless, I think we need to get this done.
Yep.
And that's the message that we need to send is, you know, you all need to come up with a way to get this done.
Right.
Make sure the hotel is safe and ready to open on time.
Okay. Well, I was gonna make a phone call to Paul anyway, if you want me to talk to him, and I'll talk to Jim. Okay. I believe we've done everything we need to do this morning.
Did you decide in your last motion regarding the chief and the letter you wrote, whether you were going to ask Paul to be on vacation or not? Did you make a decision on that?
No, we didn't make a decision on that. Probably, I could talk to Jim about the salary, make sure it's okay. Do you want to make a motion that that Jim Concanon take over immediately, and I'll check with Paul to make sure that he's available, if available. I mean, it's his choice whether he is available.
My feeling is that you talked to Jim about whether he'd like that resource for another week, and my guess is that,
Oh,
I mean,
yeah.
part of the reason that we made the
Maybe, yeah.
decision today was so that he could have
Right.
Chief Z for another week, and regardless of this, I think that it's valuable to have him here to help with that transition.
Right.
So I would be firmly in disagreement of asking him to leave a week early or take vacation or whatever.
Well, we don't know what his schedule either. I don't know if there's classes or if he is planning on taking vacation. I mean, if he's out on vacation next week, then yeah.
Well,
If
this
he's
could be a decision where Jim is named
co-chief.
the chief immediately, and if Paul could mentor him, I mean, it's up to the board as to whether, you know, we make the appointment immediately.
I don't think it's gonna matter to either of these two individuals. I think that they get along fine.
The decisions that need to be made would be made by either Paul or Jim, though.
In agreement of both.
Right.
Yeah, I mean,
Mhm.
the Chief Z's been pushing to get somebody in there so that he can help them to transition. It's
Yeah.
not like he's trying to hold on to power or do things in the last final hour here. Let him do his job and help to transition over. It's better for our community.
Okay. Yeah, if you could just find out Paul's schedule, see when he's around this week.
Okay, make sure, hopefully he's around enough to
At
help
least
out.
give the basics correct.
When I did talk to him, he said he was gonna try to be around even after March 1st, if anyone needed him,
Okay.
so.
But even
Okay.
after March 1st, obviously, all decisions would come from Jim, not from Paul.
Right.
Of course.
Okay.
He just, Chief Z, regardless of the disagreements here, he wants the best for our community.
I think so.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
And he will help that to happen in any way that he can.
All right,
Okay.
are we good?
The mass is ended.
Motion
All
to
right.
adjourn.
Seconded.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.